As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. I was born into freedom in a wonderful land of mountains and plains, rivers and lakes. Forever American is what I am. A past as rich as any can be. My father's worked hard to give this to me. I love this place I come from. To live another way I cannot foresee. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. As an American, I've been to the peaks of majestic mountains where the air is sweet. I've watched the eagle as it soars in beautiful skies that just can't be ignored. And by this country I'll always stand, for freedom and liberty for every man. When times are hard and things get rough, America always stands ready and rough. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball
Well, hello. Good evening, everyone. How you doing tonight? Another wonderful Friday night. Hi, of course, Lynn. Hi, Retha. Hi, Nana. Hi, Richard. Hi, Linda. Hi, Tia. Hi, Pam. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Matt. How you doing tonight? Hit that share button, please, to get us out there as far as possible, because, of course, Shadow Band again tonight. What else is new? Hopefully you guys are having a great night though out there. A lot to talk about, of course. Trump, once again, being arrested. Ridiculousness. We already know that. Every time we turn around, it's something else new. They try to charge him with something that's not even illegal in the first place, and it's ridiculous watching this unfold. Because it's a daily thing at this point. I mean, literally we hear some other bogus charge or bogus claim. This case in Georgia has to do with a RICO charge, and the RICO charge only applies if he willingly and knowingly tried to claim the election wasn't stolen, knowing that it wasn't, which he did have no clue it wasn't. He thought it was. He honestly did. It wasn't a question about that as we were watching and seeing what happened with the election, because there was a lot of questions about the election. A lot of questions unfolding about everything. And people, of course, need to know what actually felt, how they felt, and how they feel about what's happening in the country. Love my doctor background. But it's craziness. Political prosecution. I mean, they're prosecuting attorneys, the attorney for the country at the time Trump was president. I mean, political scholar or constitutional scholars that, of course, gave Trump information and everything else. His Trump mugshot is freaking awesome. The mugshot is awesome. Let's be honest. But all this unfolding, it's just ridiculous. But yet, no charges against the Biden family yet? Nothing. We have not a single charge against Biden yet, and we're seeing everything just go free and clear for him. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to know the truth. Obviously, because at this point, we would have something else. We would have indictments against Biden. But let's be honest. If it was anybody else sitting in that office, any Republican, I don't care if you want to say it was freaking Bush, was sitting in office, and they found he had foreign business ties and doing business while he was vice president of this country and making profits off of making decisions as a leader of this country. That is treason. That is not corruption. That is not bribery. It is treason through and through. Profiting off of making decisions as an American vice president or president is the worst crime you can commit in this country. And it's blatantly being overlooked. Yeah. Yeah, Nixon had it better off. Let's be honest. Trump goes to jail and steals the spotlight, of course, from the rest of the GOP field. Not a problem with that. I mean, his mugshot literally stole the spotlight from all GOP candidates, let's face it. Ramaswamy, of course, wanting to, even praising Trump as being the best president of the 21st century, said it would take somebody from a different generation to get the country where it needs to be. I think Ramaswamy would actually make a great vice president for Trump, even though he's running as a presidential candidate, and he revealed, of course, today why he's running against Trump, saying that he was the best of the 21st century, but we need somebody new. Trump's considering strong feelings of the latter president and arguing former president's politics were something he could take to the next level, which I could see. I could see Ramaswamy moving the poll forward with Trump and maybe running by himself in 2028. I could actually see him being a presidential candidate. So I think Ramaswamy, vice president, Trump president. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but it's your own feelings. You guys can make your words known. Yeah. I worry about him too. You can't talk about what could happen. Let's be honest. Every Kennedy has had a problem running for office or being in office. Joe Biden, though. Obama, Joe Biden, all those are jokes. Literally. Joe Biden is the true joke. Is America ready for an Indian VP? He's not Indian. He was born in America. He's an American. I hate to say that, but he is. His Christian faith. So there's a lot to say about that. And I hate when people put his race before his color or his skin. That doesn't matter to me. None of that matters. Is where his family comes from originally. I think what matters is a true leader. Yeah. They need to teach the truth in school. Just the truth would be okay. But Ramaswamy, I would say, is the best culture or best candidate. Culture, yes. I think we're well beyond a person of different ethnicity running for office. I believe that's way past that. Obama ran for office and he was born in Kenya. Well, technically he was born in Hawaii because that's what they claim, but we're not getting into that. Even Obama said he was born in Kenya. So I don't know. I'm not getting into that conversation right now because I just can't. But let's look at the weather, of course. The weather, of course, in America. And usually I don't talk about the weather, but I think this is important. We have another tropical storm threatening Florida next week. 70% chance of development that it will hit Florida's Gulf Coast Tuesday or Wednesday. So if you guys live in that area, please be safe. Massive amount of deadly storms. At least 10 confirmed tornadoes in the Midwest, from southern Michigan to northwest Ohio overnight, last night, spawning at least 10 tornadoes at the peak of the storm. Knocked out power for more than 500,000 people. It's crazy. Nobody's talking about that. Biden's reflection on any of this is a joke. He's going to say, oh, well, my Corvette almost got lost in a tornado once. That's all he has is his Corvette. His car is going to get you lost. His car this, his car that. It's a joke. Meanwhile, everybody seemed to have forgotten about Hawaii, forgotten about the 333 finally released names for people that are unaccounted for, following the deadliest U.S. wildfire in more than half a century. Some cases already began to resolve as relatives and people themselves reported they were safe. As of course the list was released today. Several people on the list told the Associated Press, and of course they were alive and well, with a few also saying they were confused and frustrated to be put on it. At least 2 others were among the victims of the fire, though. People who are known to have perished have not yet been positively identified as deceased in the official tally yet, which currently stands at 115 lost. Souls lost. I mean, the reason people's names are winding up in the list, and I hate to say this, is literally because FEMA is there requiring documents that these people don't have. Their houses burned. Everything in them burned. They had to flee. FEMA requiring birth certificates or licenses and other stuff that these people just don't have copies of. But like Alex Hernandez or Arturo Hernandez wound up to be on the list, even though he moved far away from Lahaina before the 3 years ago he in fact moved. He called the FBI today to provide his name and date of birth. And an inaccurate list could cause unnecessary stress. And it's true. Some people are still struggling with the impact of so many people dying. Who now, you've got to watch everything that's on the list to make sure they're actually people that were living there. I mean, people died in their cars because fire overtook their cars as they were fled from their buildings and apartments with their animals, friends, cousins, all burned up in cars because they were stuck in traffic because they blocked the exit for cars. This is sad. Why would they block the exit for citizens to get out with their vehicles? We've seen the massive fire damage of the vehicles backed up in traffic because they were blockaded, so they couldn't get out. Water was turned off for this area, and this is going off. This is just disappearing from the news. Nobody's talking about it anymore. Nobody's talking about it at all. Of course, the 388 names that were released are just a portion of the bordering list of up to 1,100 people reported missing. The FBI is still working to validate this list, but the names they've released already are incorrect in some aspects. We know at least 2 people that don't even live in the area. I believe it, Linda. 15-minute cities on their way. As we have more severe weather moving into the country, I want people to be prepared. Because if this shit happens again, if we have another wildfire or a storm, and they don't allow people to exit the area, you have to have an alternate plan. You have to have an alternate plan. You have to have somewhere you can get out, some way you can get out without the government's consent. And HAARP, I believe, is definitely at play there. So weather manipulation definitely at play. And it is sad. Sad facts. Of course, that's not it. The feds, of course, are going to carefully proceed at this point on further rate raises because, of course, the economy hasn't cooled as expected. Saying more strength could warrant an additional actions. I mean, we're seeing as the inflation rate ticks up, even though they changed the rate of what they measure inflation by. No longer measuring gas or food costs. What are they measuring inflation by? No energy costs, no automobiles, no gas, no food. So consumer goods that are rarely purchased? Is that what they're basing inflation by? Because that's not the inflation economics that affects an average state or average American family. No, it's the cost of food. It's the cost of housing. It's the cost of fuel. Those all dramatically affect every family. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think the first thing I think about when I think about inflation is cost of food, cost of housing, cost of energy. If those aren't going to be included in inflation, then why even keep a metric of it? You can't make it change the definition of what goods are measured in inflation every time to make it look the best you can. Give me a true, honest number. American people need to know the truth. They're feeling the hurt on their wallet, and they don't know why. Oh, we're at a 3-point-something% inflation rate. No, more like 12% when you factor the true inflation rate. But nobody knows that because that's not what's being pushed by the media, mainstream media, or even the government at this point. They're lying to America, lying to our citizens, lying to you and me. And this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable in every single aspect that we are, as American citizens. I mean, and I know there's talk about a new virus. I don't think it's going to be a COVID strain. I think it has to do with dengue fever and some other viruses that are now in the U.S. Mostly mosquito-borne, but dengue fever is past person-to-person transmission. And usually it's not found in the U.S. But it's being found more and more in the U.S. as we follow what's happening. And the question is, why? Why all of a sudden do we have viruses like dengue fever in the U.S.? Where do they come from? How did they get here and how did they become prevalent? Nobody's asking those questions. But yeah, everybody should be. It's crazy. They're already talking about by next month placing mask mandates back in airports and everything else, which some places already have mask mandates back up because new viruses, new strands of COVID, well, that's what they're using now, but I don't think it's going to be anything else. We're going to start Thanksgiving donations. I have to open a separate account for that, so we will be doing that probably tomorrow night. I have to start a separate account because it cannot go into the same account. So we will be starting Thanksgiving donations tomorrow night. I was thinking about that. I was sidetracked. I should have got it done earlier this year. We've had a lot going on. A lot going on. It's just going to get more crazy as we get closer to election. I don't think we're going to make it to an election. I mean, I would be glad to see an election to get Biden out of office. But at this point, we have so much happening between Russia and China. I mean, Taiwan's reporting renewed Chinese military activity inside their zone. Taiwan's defense minister reported renewed Chinese military activity today around the island, including 13 aircraft entering Taiwan airspace and 5 ships carrying out combat readiness patrols. So yeah, China is still moving. China still wants to go through this. And I think we're going to see, of course, China move in an aggressive response very quickly before we can get missiles placed on Taiwan. I don't know if you guys heard that, but we do plan on placing long-range defensive or missiles. They're going to be used for offense. Let's face it, they can hit China. And we're going to watch Taiwan burn. And we're going to use that to start World War III. I mean, the devastation plan for Taiwan was already written. Just like what's happening with Ukraine. And everybody says Russia's out of this. Well, Russia just managed to scrounge up 600,000 new troops. Well, wait, those troops they had already in training. They're not new. Russia's putting another 600,000 troops on the front lines and focusing on regrouping and sending in reinforcements to prepare to resume the offense in the east of Ukraine. 600,000 more troops. Ukraine's losing troops at a drastic rate. And I know we did see some attacks on Crimea, over 72 drones in the past 24 hours, 42 of them into Crimea from Ukraine. 73 Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicles have been either shot down or jammed by electronic means over the past day alone. 73, all 73 drones that try to enter Crimea and Russia have been jammed or shot down. Which we know Russia had jamming technology to jam these drones a long time ago. Russia's finally stepping up and doing what they need to do, intercepting. They keep saying KS-5 missiles. There's no way. Those are either Tomahawks. They're some kind of U.S. land-based missile, because there's no way that these KS-5s, these air defense missiles that Russia still uses or Russia still has, they don't work, are now being used to target Russia, the ones that were left in Ukraine over 50 years ago. I mean, this is ridiculous. Yeah, those were our drones. Our Switchblade drone. 73 of them have been knocked down in the last 24 hours. We don't know how many have gone through. We know 73 are knocked down. Moscow will not, of course, release any information about what actually was hit. But Moscow, the last couple of weeks, have been targeting the frequencies of these drones and finally have the exact frequencies that most of these drones are running on. And drones are no longer effective against Russia. What a surprise. What a surprise. General Staff and Ukrainian military reported Russian air and missile attacks on Ukraine overnight, adding there were casualties among civilians, and of course, casualties amongst them as well. During the past 24 hours alone, Russia has launched 7 missiles and 74 airstrikes on the position of troops and on populated areas. Now, this is the question. Why would Ukraine say on troops and populated areas? Because their troops are in populated areas. They're trying to hide their troops among civilians. Yeah, China knows as well. This is great. This is absolutely the worst conditions that we could be in. I don't think you guys realize, I mean, Ukraine was burning around 7,000 rounds of 155 artillery rounds a day. They're burning around 1,100 now. We produce around 5,000 a month. A month. That means us producing our maximum capacity. Well, one facility produces 5,000, another one produces 4, so 9,000 a month total. So our maximum capacity of production in a month doesn't supply enough ammunition for a single day in the war in Ukraine. We are outmatched. But our government wants to keep pushing for war. Our military is missing troops, missing leadership. They can't find leaders. This is a true problem. Why are we pushing so heavily? Why? What good is it going to do? And I have to say this. I know it's a conspiracy theory and whatever else, but this is Agenda 20 or Agenda 2030, whatever you want to call it. They keep changing the name of it. Agenda 21. This is the plan. petite population. How else are they going to go with it? If we end up at war with Russia and China and massive amounts of population die on both sides, what happens? Oh, they already got the frequencies. I guarantee they're going to start blocking out the drones in the Black Sea. This is crazy. It's frustrating and discouraging. It is. It's frustrating and discouraging for everybody at this point, watching this unfold. This is true devastation at this point. This feeling, of course, of a Russian village led to one civilian being wounded from Ukraine. No soldiers wounded, no soldiers killed, one person wounded while Ukraine shelled inside of Russian territory. I don't think the Wagner leader was on that plane either, Linda. And I'm not going to say why, because that information has not been released yet, but it will be. But I have sources that tell me there's something else happening. That's all I'm going to say. And it doesn't look good for America. Because if he did meet with Vladimir Putin, which I believe he did, after the plane was supposedly shot down, and they are planning on backing Belarus with the Poland issue, we could be watching a lot happen at once. Because if all these Wagner Group people disappear, they're disappearing all over Europe. And let's be honest, they're blending in society. They're moving their citizens or their group throughout Europe. And this could cause a very headache situation for Europe and the United States at this point. Because if what they think is going to happen is true, we're going to see terrorist-like attacks inside of Europe from this. And that would be worse than anything we've seen so far. It would be truly devastating. Truly, truly devastating. The goal of pushing to get F-16s in there to Ukraine is bad news. Yeah, they're setting it up. Russia's setting this up and doesn't look good. Be prepared, you guys. That's all I can say is you always have to be prepared. Be on the ball. With the way the government handles these disasters now, like what happened in Hawaii, can't get better. We have no business being there. We have no business being in Ukraine. We have no business being in Taiwan. Let's be honest. We say we believe in the one China policy. That's our official stand is we believe in one China policy. But yet we're sending weapons and troops to Taiwan constantly, directly against China's interest. This makes no sense. But be prepared, you guys. God bless you guys. Of course, if you can afford to donate, please do. Definitely still need support, even though we will be starting Thanksgiving tomorrow. So we will be starting to collect for Thanksgiving. Till then, be safe. Stand strong. And God bless America. The America we need to be, not the America we are. Good night.